Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Operating Systems class 1517 AC 553. This is lecture number 3. In today's class, we'll be um, looking into the topic called non-contiguous memory allocation. In the previous lectures, in lecture 1, we had an insight into the introduction and contents of the module 3. And in the lecture number 2, we learned few concepts under the name of contiguous memory allocation. In this class, we'll be looking into the next um, type of memory allocation, that is non-contiguous memory allocation. In the non-contiguous memory allocation model, what are the memory areas which we saw in the previous class, that is memory area for a process. There we saw some adjacent memory allocation, means the memory addresses were in contiguous manner. In this model, there will be several non-adjacent memory areas for a particular process. Okay, and here there will be the whatever the memory areas are there, no, most of them will, or none of them will be having a enough large space. Okay, the memory area is not much large enough in the non-contiguous memory allocation. Hence, a part of the process, including the data memory as well as the stack memory, is loaded in each of these areas. Such a part is called a component of a process. Component of a process. This non-contiguous memory allocation model having two advantages. One, here there will be less sectional fragmentation. Also, there can be a no external fragmentation. What is this meant by less sectional less sectional fragmentation and no external fragmentation? Okay, let's understand in this in brief. Okay, in non-contiguous memory allocation model, a memory area can be used even though it is not large enough. Okay, to hold a complete process in a non-contiguous memory allocation model, a memory area which is not large enough, it can be used, and this results in less external fragmentation. This was one of the problem in the contiguous memory allocation yesterday we saw in the class. And in this model, we can expect no external fragmentation at all, only when a concept called paging is used along with the non-contiguous memory allocation. Okay, when non-contiguous memory allocation model exists with the paging technique, then there will be no external fragmentation in the memory area. This feature will reduce the external fragmentation and it improves the memory utilization. And in this, there is no need of merging of the free memory areas or no need of performing memory compaction. In the contiguous memory allocation, what is the problem? There is a problem of external fragmentation. To overcome that, what we did, we were merging the free memory areas or we were doing the memory compaction method. In non-contiguous memory allocation model, there is no need for that merging of the free memory areas or going for the memory compaction method. And this is the picture which is depicting the non-contiguous memory allocation to a process. There are three figures. Let us explore with by taking an example. Okay, let us consider an example where in a memory area is having a 4. I repeat again. Let us take an memory area which is having a 4 free memory areas. Okay, there are 4 free memory areas. Their starting addresses are 100K, 300K, 450K, and 600K. Okay, we know that K is equal to 102. Correct? We use the term 1K, 2K, 3K. So here K is equal to 1024, not 1000. K is equal to 1024. In computer, we'll use the K means 1024. Okay, don't by mistakenly write it as kilo. 1000. It is 1024. Okay, this is the 4 free memory areas which we are having. This is a memory area having 4 free memory spaces where their starting addresses are 100K, 300K, 450K, 600K. Yesterday we had understood that whatever the areas which is having a straight lines, Okay, in this is memory area. In this memory area, whatever the spaces which is having a vertical lines or straight lines, those areas are called free areas. Yes, yesterday we had looked here. This straight line is having a free memory area. This straight box is having a free memory area, and this straight box is free, and this straight box is free. Means between kernel and F there is a box which is having straight lines. Means this area is free. Between F and C there is another box which is having straight lines. Means that area is free. Between C and D there is another straight box. There is a box which is having straight lines. Means this area is free. Below the D is having a box having a straight lines. Means this area is unallocated and it is free. Okay, the first memory areas address is 100k, and the second free memory areas address is 300k, and the third free memory address area is 450k, and the fourth free memory area address is 600k. Okay, address, these are our address, not sizes. Address, like you have a home address, right? Home number 1, house number 2, house number 3, like that, same thing. This free memory area is having address 100k. Okay, and we have not yet mentioned the sizes. Let us look into the size. Let us look into the example to know the sizes. Okay, these four memory areas having a sizes of 50 kb, 30 kb, 80 kb, and 40 kb respectively. What is meant by respectively? It means the address starting at 100k, that memory area size is 50 kb, and the address area starting at 300k, that memory area size is 30 kb, and the address area starting at 450k, its memory area is 80 kb size, and address starting at 600k, its size is 40 kb. Okay, this size you are seeing now. This is the free memory area. Its address is 100k and its size is 50k. And this is a second free address area, free memory area, and its size is 300k, and its size its address is 300k, its size is 30 kb. And this is the third free memory area starting at 450k, and its size is 80 kb. This is the last fourth free memory area. Its address is 600k, its size is 40 kb. Okay, hope you all got. Size means by default, you know, the container space, how much it can hold. Okay, this is about the briefing about the problem. Let us try to understand in this some technical terms with respect to the memory allocation, that is a logical view and physical view. Okay, let us take a process P which has a size of 140 kb. Okay, there is a process P which is having a size of 140 kb and it needs a memory area. How to allocate this? We can allocate like this, as in the figure P. There is a process P and it is having, its size is 140 kb. So we are using one particular area, and in this particular area we divided this particular area has been divided into some numericals. We can see 51488 is and xyz. Okay, we will try to understand what is this means in the coming slides. Okay, right now there is a process P which is having a size 140 kb. So then the process P can be divided into three components: P1, P2, and P3. Why? We don't have any direct 140 kb space here. So we'll divide this such that its total becomes 140 kb. So we have 50 kb, 30 kb, 80 kb, and 40 kb free memory areas. We need to use this and we need to allocate spaces for this process. So we are dividing process P, which is having 140 kb size, into three components, that is P1, P2, and P3, where P1 size is 50 kb, P2 size is 30 kb, and P3 size is 60 kb. Okay, then we can load these three components into the free memory areas like this: process component, size, and memory start address. P1, which is having 50 kb size, we can load at the address starting address 100k, and P2, which is having 30 kb size, we can load into the address starting at 300k, and P3, which is having 60 kb, we can load this address starting address 450 kb. Why? Because we know that at the address space which is starting at 100k, its size is 50 kb only. and the address which is starting at 30K, its size is 30 KB only, whereas remaining there is next address is 80 KB, 450K, it's having a size of 80 KB, so we can use 60 KB from this. So we can give 140 KB of the memory area to a single process by dividing into 3 components. See, this is how the allocation has been done. Earlier, at 100K, the memory area is 50 KB. Now it is allocated to P1. And the at 300K there is 30 KB. It is allocated to P2. And at 450K the size was 80 KB and it is allocated to P3. And remaining is 20 KB. You can see. Okay. And next, logical address, physical address, and address translation is here. Another post like what I call. Okay, I will complete this class and I'll go to the meeting. Okay, fine. Okay, I think you all got the point. This is how we can divide, we can allocate a memory to a process when there is a single shot of exact memory space. Next, continuing to this, we shall try to understand the meaning of logical address, physical address, and address translation. The abstract view of a system is called the logical view. Don't worry, I will explain what is abstract view and all with a picture. Okay, there is an abstract view. It is called as a logical. Okay, the arrangement and relationship among its component is called logical organization. Remember, there is a view called abstract view. It is called as a logical view. The arrangement and relationship between the components may be process dividing, P1, P2, P3 like. It is called as logical organization. And there's another view called real view. It is called as a physical view. Okay, and whatever the arrangement in the physical view comes now, that is called physical organization. Okay, remember, there are views and organization. The abstract view is called as the logical view, and the real view is called the physical view. Whatever the arrangement and relationship between the components exists within the abstract logical view is called as a logical organization, and whatever the arrangements and relationship exists within the real view or physical view is called as the physical organization. Okay, in the last example we took, no, in that the figure B, wherever the process B expecting 140 KB memory area, it is called as the logical view. But in physical, we cannot implement like that. We need to divide that because we don't have one memory area having 140 KB. What we did, we divided into the process into 3 components, and we allocated 3 components into the free spaces. So this expecting a process expecting 140 KB memory area. Okay, but we don't have that much one single memory area, so we divided. So this is called the logical view, and when arranging is called the physical view. Okay, the figure, see what we saw in the previous slide. We arranged. Okay, we arranged the free memory areas and allocated a single process by dividing into P1, P2, P3. This is called the physical view. Okay, moving to this, a logical address is the address of an instruction, or it is a data byte which is used in the process. Okay, the logical address may be obtained by using the index register, base register, or segment registers. The logical address in a process constitute the logical address space of the process. A physical address is the address in memory where an instruction or data byte exists. And in your, according to your syllabus, you need to remember only the definitions. Okay, there is a logical address and physical address. Okay, logical address is nothing but an address of an instruction or data byte used in the process. It is obtained by the index register, base register, and segment register. And logical address constitutes the logical address space of a process. A physical address is the address in a memory where an address is it is an address in a memory where an instruction or data byte exists. The set of physical addresses in the system constitutes the physical address space of the system. Okay, then we will take an example. We'll take the same example that dividing a single process P having 140 KB size. We'll take that one. Okay, the logical address space requirement for the P was 140 KB, while the physical address space was around 640 KB. Okay, the data area, what we saw in the figure, area, the XYZ in the previous slide you might observe, it is in the its address as of 51488. Its address was 51488, and it is called as the logical address of the XYZ. And the process component P1, its size is 50 KB. So if we subtract the 50 KB from 51488, we will be obtaining 51200 bytes. Okay, see in the previous slide, let us look at this. Yeah, see the address is 51. This is the XYZ memory area. It is the address is 51488. Okay, so when we want to take the process P1, sorry, the component P1 of a process which is having 50 KB size, then we need to subtract the size from this 51488. Then we will be getting 51200 bytes. So XYZ is situated in a component P2 and has the byte number 288. Okay, how to find P2, P1 and P2? This one. So subtract 50 KB from the 50 KB is at the address for 51200, and when we subtract this 51200 from 51488, we'll be getting the address of the byte number of the P2, that is 288. Okay, 51488 minus 51200, we'll be getting the byte number of the P2, that is 288. Then P2 is loaded into the memory area, which starting address is 300 KB. Okay, and that is 300 KB means 307200 bytes. So when we add this 288 to this 307200, it becomes 37488. That is the physical address of the XYZ. Okay, this is a schematic view of the address translation in non-contiguous memory allocation. You can see there is a kernel area, and the free memory addresses are there. And in this, some operand address in the are mentioned. Okay, it is showing that whatever the stripe lines are nothing but memory areas allocated to a process B. Okay, the kernel area is consists of a memory management unit, MMU. This schematic diagram shows how CPU obtains the physical address that corresponds to a logical address. The kernel stores information about the memory areas allocated to process P in a table and makes it available to the memory management unit, MMU. Then continuing to the same example, we obtained the sizes and the memory starting address of the P1, P2 and P3. Then once we obtain the sizes and memory, then starting address of the components, the CPU sends the logical address of each data, or it sends the instruction used in the process to the memory management unit, MMU. Then the memory management unit uses the memory allocation information stored in the table to compute the corresponding physical address. Whatever the physical address we obtain, that is called the effective memory address of the data or the instruction. How the process, how the address translation works. First, we need to obtain the sizes and memory starting address of the components P1, P2, P3. Then that information will be used by the CPU, and it will send the logical address of each of these components and data or instruction to the MMU. Then MMU uses this memory allocation information, okay, and it computes the physical address. This physical address is called the effective memory address. The procedure of computing the effective memory address from a logical address is called address translation. What is address translation? It is not address translation is something but it is a procedure of computing the effective memory address from a logical address. Okay, you can expect a 1 mark question. What is meant by address translation? Address translation nothing but a procedure of computing the effective memory address from a logical address. A logical address used in an instruction consists of two parts. One, the ID of the process component containing the address, and the ID of the byte within the component. Okay, the logical address consists the ID of the process component and the ID of the byte within the component. If there's a formula to represent the logical address by a pair form, one is the component and by byte address. Component address by COMPI and byte address by byte I. Within parenthesis, component I comma byte I. This is how we represent the logical address having a byte in the pairing form. The memory management unit computes its effective memory address through the formula. There is an effective address formula. Effective memory address of component I comma byte I is equal to starting address of the memory area allocated to the component, okay, plus byte number of the byte within the component. Okay, how to calculate the effective memory address of a component having byte is nothing but effective memory address of a component having byte component comma byte, that is component I comma byte I is equal to starting address of the memory area allocated to the component I plus byte number of the byte I with existing within the component I. In previous example, the process P1 component as having a size of 50 KB and its starting address is 512, the 50 KB means 51220 bytes, and so XYZ was situated in P2 and it has the byte number 288. This is the how we got this. We obtain subtracted from 51488 minus 51200, we got 288. That is the byte number of the process P2. Okay. The instructions of P would refer to the data area. Once this has been obtained, then the instructions of the P, that the process P would refer to the data area, and XYZ would refer to the logical address P2 comma 288. How do you identify the P2? P2 comma 288, because 288 is the byte number of the P2. P2 is a component of a process P. Okay, process P starting address is 51488. Okay, how we obtained P2 address? Just by subtracting 51200 from 51488, we obtained P288, that is the byte number of the P2. So then the MMU, that is memory management unit, computes its effective memory address as 307200 plus 288. This is the starting address of the P2 plus the byte number of the P2. Starting address of P2 is 307200 plus its byte number 288. So the effective memory address is 307 plus 488. Remember this, the starting address of this is the formula. Effective memory address, we are finding the effective memory address of P2. Okay, its starting address is 307200 and byte number is 288. Okay, from this figure we can obtain the starting address of P2. You can see the starting address of P2 is 307488. Okay, how this was obtained? This was obtained by adding the byte number to this. Okay, so when you without byte number, the starting address of P2 will be 307200. Okay, the starting address of P2 is 307200 plus adding the byte number of this 288. So we obtain the effective memory address of the P2 as P2 component as 307488. Okay, by this I complete I wind up the non-contiguous memory allocation topic. In the next class we'll start with the paging and segmentation with paging concepts. Okay, thank you all.